Okay. All right. Looks like that is working. Now, one sec here. Hold on. I'll make sure. Let's see. Live. Oh, shoot. I just realized. I had the I had terminal editor as like the name for the previous stream. It was, and even though I wasn't working on the terminal editor. Anyway, okay. Let's get back to this. So, as you can see, last time managed to get this stuff going. So the app part of this is working. Let's go to the window. Let's get started. Now, regards there. Okay, so we'll do and actually I might do win new. I don't know if that's something that is going to collide with Windows, but leave it as that for now. And I don't know if I need anything else in there for the moment. We won't worry about that just yet. We'll might end up putting stuff there later. Okay. Eat. And then there's probably going to be other stuff. For now, we'll just leave those as is. Okay. So I need to include result. Finds. There we go. Include the window header. Now, here, I've seen a lot of people who will put the window structure and stuff like that into a struct. And I don't know if that's, like, at least in my case, I don't think I want to do that. Because I'm not going to be using more than one operating system window. At least not that I can think of. I don't think it will be. So anyway, all right. So we'll go ahead. We'll say we'll include GLFW. And then I'm going to go ahead and do static window pointer. And we'll say this is equal to null. And the new is just going to go in and define a window very quickly. So first off, GLFW that's, I think we want to do the not there, and then include the logger. This is going to be fatal. Return win error. So I'll have to define a win error there. And then we'll go to here, and then do GLFW terminate. That's really all that needs to happen until I start creating stuff. So next, let's see, GLFW. Is it set hint? I don't remember. I haven't used GLFW in quite a long time. So let me just go to the documentation real quick. Okay. All right, hold on. Now let's. There we go. Window guide. It might be a good place to go. Window creation hits. Here we are. Okay. So individually, window in. Yep. Okay. So let's see. Definitely want resizable. But I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So let's go to the things that are important here. Context. Context version major. Here we go. So do GLFW go hint. That's going to be so that's 3. It's just going to be version minor. And I know there's a thing. So I didn't actually do this. I probably should at some point, but I need to make sure to detect which platform I'm on, and then make sure that whatever I'm doing, that it works on that platform. GLFW is largely platform independent, although there are some exceptions. So what I'll do, let's see, I'll fix that later. Okay, we want to create a window. W create window, and I think it's width, height, and then title. So I am going to have to pass in the name and then the size and some other stuff. For now, let's say hello window. And then these two can be null. It's just the monitor and some other information, which I will probably need to put in later, but for now we won't. Okay, if not window, so window doesn't exist, it's null. Needs to say fatal to, actually, let's say here, one. Fail to initialize GLFW, fail to create window. And so we need to call GLFW terminate, and return in error. Okay. So say return success. There. And I want to make sure to do GLFW. Was it make context current? I think is the correct one. I don't think that returns anything I need to watch for. Maybe it does. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Okay. Where is... Here we go, context guide. That's probably what we want. Okay. Yeah, GLFW make context current. We need to supply it with the window. Just make sure that that is, yeah, so that's returning void. Okay, so I think that will be fine. All right. Now, the only, so, let's do GL clear, and then GLFW swap. That's just for the window. Yeah. Because it does include a couple OpenGL commands. It doesn't include everything, but it includes some. And GL clear is one of them, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. And let's do... No, we'll leave that as it is. Okay. Let's go ahead. App.c. We'll get rid of this. Include window.h. Yeah, so in this case, this doesn't need the window. What we'll do here is go ahead and win new. Make sure to try this. We'll do win fill. Okay. So let's try this. Yep. So let's go ahead and define near the top. Result. We'll say equals success. And I also forgot I need to go to the lines and add in win error. And let's see how do we do this. If def, and I want to make sure I'm getting the correct thing. So let's see, done. Okay, so right, so if find win32 or defined win32 let's see, can I just hold on, what does the error preprocessor do? Let's see, error. There we go. CPU processor error. Okay. Right. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we'll use this and say doesn't compile on Windows, let's say for now. This will have to be changed at some point in the future. Elif, and I need to check for Linux. Okay, so let's check for if you are on Linux. See if we can get. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and do Linux. Yeah. fine. Yeah, let's go with that. LF find apple or find monk. Just have to admit an error. Doesn't compile on what's that stuff I will change probably in the future, but moment. Let's leave it like this. Because I'm developing on Linux, and so I'll obviously need to expand this if I want it to compile on other systems. Okay. And actually, do YD macOS find Windows. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead, close this real quick. Back to one. Oh, right, hold on. Go here, and we'll say, what is it? I think it's GL clear buffer bit. That's right. Color buffer bit, excuse me. Okay. Nice. Okay, now if I do this, yeah. Okay, so you didn't see it, I don't think, very well. It was not very, didn't last very long. In fact, let me see if I can run it again. Yeah, you just barely see something kind of funny going on. That's because it's opening and then immediately closing the window. So what I need to do is add in some stuff to make it so it doesn't do that. Okay. Let's do int. Actually, should this be a Boolean? I think it should probably be a Boolean. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go ahead. We'll include standard bool. This is going to go to win dot. I guess should close. Yeah, something like that. This is basically just a wrapper around the GLFW function. Oh, geez. Smoking up the house. Okay. Let's go to, let's see, here. And then bool should close. Turn W close. Just have it be, oh, let's make sure I put window there. Okay. Also, while I'm here, we'll do void win, I guess, poll events. Poll events. This is just going to call GLFW poll events. I don't think that requires a window itself. Void events. Oh, shoot. To app.c. Okay. So I'm going to put in a run loop here. And for this, I don't think I might end up introducing more of like a what do you want to call it? Like an event-based structure, but for now we'll go with this. And maybe I'll discover in the future that event-based system is better. But for now we'll do while when should close not here. I'm gonna do when whole events. Okay. Okay. Now I've got a window that's open, and you can see like it's cut off some of the stuff here. So if I do that, then it will shut everything down gracefully. Right. Okay. Now from there, hold on a sec here. Okay, you know, let me make sure that that's just always off, because okay. Anyway, all right. So what else do we want to do? Okay. How do I want to handle this? Yeah, I need to come up with an event system. So we need an event manager. Let's go ahead. Oops. Let's touch. Let's see. Event manager .h and event manager .c. Let's go. Oh, oop. There we go. Okay. You know, hold on. I'm gonna just make these header cards real quick, and then I'm gonna change the name. Okay. Move. Change all those. It's a little easier to type out, and I'm not going to have both of those. Okay. So we need events. So what is an event? This. Okay. Oh, jeez. There we go. Okay. So we need an event. An event is going to have a type. It's going to have values, and the value will be so this is actually very similar to a lot of the stuff that I've been working on. It should probably have the sender as well. I want to say I think that would probably be best. Not sure. As far as type and value goes, we'll do type def enum and et phone home. Wow, that's an old reference. Okay. Let's do what do I want to do here. Let's key press. I'm gonna say so unknown. I'm just gonna specify that at least one of them is just gonna be like an unknown type just to be safe. Okay, so we need event type here, so we'll call it key press, key release. I don't need key repeat. So one of the things that is pretty, well, what I've seen at least in the case of stuff like GLFW, GLFW has press, release, and repeat. Now, I don't know if there's actually any significant value to be found from having a repeat type, right? Having events that trigger, like that are distinct from just key presses. I don't know if that's really something that I need, so I'm not going to include it right now. Okay. Now, there's probably others that I need to include, things like, pressing mouse buttons, focusing on the window. For now, we'll start with these two. So that's an event type, and let's call this event type. And then type def enum, not enum, sorry, that's a union event value. So this is going to have a bunch of stuff. Now, I think the largest event that GLFW, and by extension, most of the like peripherals and things on computers, I think the largest amount of stuff they will emit is 128 bytes. So that's going to usually be things like two doubles, right? That's a total of 128 bits. Okay, so what I'll do then is we'll do a bunch of different ones. So let's go to the top here real quick. We'll go ahead and include find stage. And we'll do, let's see. Well, I guess we'll just start with the basics. So first one, U8, so unsigned bytes. And this is going to be, I think it's, let's call it bytes 16. Oh, I need to specify that. Can I do it like this? This might not actually be valid. Huh. Not totally sure that this is going to work. Maybe what I'll do is I'll specify the types of structures, or the events, basically have event structures that it includes. So maybe something like mouse move. Struct mouse move, and I think that's just take a quick look here. Maybe input guide. Here we go. Here we go. Let's look at mouse input real quick. Raw mouse motion. I don't know if that's what we want. There is as an integer. Where's mouse move? Yeah, okay, so cursor position is obtained through two doubles, so the X position and the Y position. So, mouse move, I guess we'll just call it mouse move event. Event, mouse move. Prefix it instead of suffix it. Hold on, I just realized this is going to have to be done like this. There. Okay. So, get rid of this, and we'll say event mouse move. Just be mouse move. So what I'll do, instead of including just kind of raw data, I'm going to specify that it's mouse move or whatever. Right. I think that's more sensible. And actually, I could just put I could just do. I think I could do just anonymous structures. Struct. And then put the data in like this. I think this is valid. It may not be. So let's sure. Okay. X and Y. I'll make sure that these are both F64s, X and Y. Let's go to defines real quick. You go here and put in double first float F32 double F64. Okay. Now, we'll say value here is event value. And then, like I said, I'll probably end up transmitting the sender in the event, but I don't know. I don't know if that's what I need. I don't know if I need to send that in the event itself, or if that's something that I want to send separately, like when I fire an event. I don't know yet. Haven't quite decided. Anyway, okay. What else? What else? All right. We also need an event manager. This is going to be a much more complicated structure because it's going to have to basically store all the events, or not all the events, all the, what do I want to call them? All the event functions. It's going to have to manage that. It's going to have to manage the, like just all the information regarding events is going to be stored here. So let's see, we need, we'll just go ahead and start putting stuff in a comment here. Stores functions for each event. Registers functions. Unregisters. Unregisters functions for event types. Fires events when So that's like the things that it needs to be able to do. So let's think for a sec. It needs to store event functions, so we need to have an event func. So type def, and then blah 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 blah. Event func. So I think it's. Hold on, let me look up. I always forget the C syntax for function pointers. So C function pointer syntax. Let's just make sure we got this right. Okay. Yeah, okay, so bool and then hold on. Pointer type def. Just make sure. Here we go. Okay. Return type. Alias name. Okay, so okay, that's a little bit weird. Okay, so it's the name and then the parameters. So there's a couple different parameters that we think we need. I think so. So we're gonna need the caller and the we need the sender, we need the receiver. So that's what these two guys are. Are you allowed to name them in? Can you put in names? Let's see. Named parameters. Let's make sure. Okay. Function pointer with named arguments. Here we go. Parameter type list specifies the types of and may declare identifiers for the parameters. Okay, cool. So I can include names, and I'm going to do so. So let's do sender, receiver, I before E except after C. Okay, and then event. And I think that's all. I think that's all that needs to be there. So this function is going to be used to process events, right? That's the basics that it's going to be used for. So, all right. Do I need to include the Oh, this is where things get complicated. Okay. I think the receiver does need to be included in the event storage structure. So Actually, no, we'll call this, hold on. This structure is not going to be event, it's going to be event data. So event data just stores information like, I guess we could also put in the sender there as well, just to kind of save trouble. So let's do void pointer sender. So that all gets sent in one package, right? Pretty simple. And this should still be, actually no, it's getting data, so it can all go in there. Okay, and then, so this event func is there. Let's go ahead and create an event here. So it's going to be event. This is going to store the event func. We'll just call it on event. And then pointer receiver, which is essentially being bound to it. And then everything else is obtained on yeah, everything else is obtained when the event is fired. Okay. Now, it's not always going to be necessary that I have the receiver and the sender in available, but I think it's probably wise to have that, just in case. So, okay. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to go up here real quick. And max. This is for sizing an array. Okay, so events, and we're going to say first off event max. Now, this is only going to allow for one event per type of event. That's not what we want, right? We want to be able to have a theoretically unlimited number of events per event type. So what I'm going to have to do is design a structure to allow me to store events. So I need to make an array list, or vector, whatever you want to call it. I think array list makes more sense, especially in the context of a language where you often interface with graphical stuff, because vector in graphics obviously has its own separate meaning. So I need to design an array list. Let's go ahead and do that. And actually, before I go any further, let's just try, okay. Let's go to app.c. We'll include events.h. Okay, so it's not complaining about that. So I think that's fine. All right, let's go ahead. Do I want to make this into a separate folder? Containers folder, maybe. I think so. Make folder, or sorry, make dir. Containers. See, containers. Have array dot h. Oh shoot! Hold on. Here containers. src containers. Then do this. I need a.c file as well. There we go. Okay. So now, is there, let's see, is that a thing? Doesn't appear to be. So I think we're okay to name it that. Okay. So this is where things get kind of interesting. So there's a couple of options, and unfortunately C does not really seem to care about which option you use. And there's, I don't know about unfortunately, I guess. I suppose that's a fortunate thing about C. But one of the problems that C has is it's really not very good about doing code generation. You can do it, it's possible, but it's not something that C is especially comfortable with. So, what I am going to do, here, so first off, define array init. It's going to need to take a type. Type def struct. It's going to take a use size, so let me make sure to include finds.h. It's going to take use size, capacity, size, length, and then type pointer data. And then we'll do array list. Yeah, I think. I'll just do array. We'll just call it an array. All right, so no, we're doing array list. Just need to make sure that it's very obvious what it is I'm doing, and we'll suffix it with type. Okay. Just go here real quick. Let's say list init. Okay. So this is just going to store data, right? And having this macro is just going to make it easy to create this over and over and over again. Oh, this needs to go. And the benefits of that. So normally, I've seen a couple people implement arrays, and one of the problems that I think is like, well, I guess I've run into this myself at least, is often it's basically just a void pointer. The data is just a void pointer, and then you put in the stride of that data. Now, that's not inherently bad, but it does, I think, cause problems when you, like, for one, you're storing extra data. Sometimes if you're storing it in the array itself, and if you're not storing it in the array itself, then you have to somehow be able to access that stride outside of the array structure. So that's something that I'm not particularly fond of. Okay, so that goes there. I'm going to go and get rid of that semicolon just so that I don't need it there. And this is going to do array list. This is basically just a way to get access to the type. So if I wanted to do something like array list type, let's say events, I can do that very easily. Okay. So I've got that. And actually, this is most of what I need. The other part is getting the, excuse me, the functions here. So let me just do new and new. Let's give it a void pointer here. And I need to make it so I can initialize this. So we'll do const void data. Usize list, or not list, sorry, length. And then usize stride. Now, I just spoke about this and was like, I don't like having to include strides, so what am I doing? Well, essentially what's going to happen is I'm going to go down here and define array new. This is going to take an array. It's going to take the data, the length of the data, and then the stride will be handled automatically, because what I'll do here is do AAR new array, and then data length times stride, or not length times stride, excuse me. I don't know if I would characterize myself as smart and writing a good one. I do appreciate the confidence. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Length. I think I'm going to do length times stride internally. So we'll do that. Okay. Then I need size of. Yes. Array.data, I guess, maybe. That's probably. Yeah, I'll do it this way. I think I can do that. No, I gotcha. It's good, I think, in a way to test people's comprehension and actually like see if they have the ability to put aside their rage just to be able to actually read the whole thing. I think it's really, people struggle a lot, I think, with actually reading things in full and then coming to a conclusion based on that. So I do think it's helpful to some extent to give people chances to do that. So, okay. Almost there. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I've been considering occasionally, I don't know how well this would go, but it does sound like a neat idea just to kind of see how it works. How a stream where like I have a beer and I just, drink that and do coding stuff. Because I've, done coding while like slightly buzzed, and it's kind of interesting just how your brain works while you're a bit intoxicated. So I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. Obviously, not advocating abuse, but it is an interesting idea. Anyway, all right. Let me just get some more of these done. Unfortunately, I am nearing the end of the stream. I usually only stream for like an hour, so. But I'm going to go ahead and find a couple more functions real quick, and then do. Actually, this does not need. I don't need to put an underscore here because deleting the array does not incur the possibility of, like, the size doesn't matter when you're deleting it. Yeah, I don't know if I would go that far, but I do think it like if you have a problem with alcohol, then obviously that's not something that you should be doing. So, but, wow. Okay, the preview is very much behind. Anyway, okay, so we got array new, got array delete. Let's go ahead and go to the source file. Just include .h, and then um, okay. Oh, wrong direction. Okay, so let's say return success. And okay. So I guess probably for now, I'm gonna just do a little bit of logging here and see what we get. So I just want to debug, and then for now, we'll just do the length and the stride. I want to make sure that those parts are working correctly. Include this. I'm not going to need it just yet, but I will need it in the very near future. Okay. Okay. This name thing, that there. Okay, and then we want length stride. So I think now I need to go ahead and create an array test. So let's go to tests array. Let's call that. Let's go here. Include this, just test.h. List, and we'll give it a type of int. Then array new. So let's see. Let me think here. Part of it is C++ has been, well, for one thing, it changes a lot, and so what version of C++ you're talking about, it I guess, for lack of a better rationale, it feels rather unstable. There are some neat features that I really do quite like, and I'm actually a big fan of templates. And yeah, like I'm not a huge object-oriented person. It's not really my thing. And apart from that, there's a lot of features that are in there that just feel unnecessary. And obviously, I'm speaking from a perspective of I've never actually used it professionally. So I'm sure that if I were in that position, I'd probably have a different opinion, but I don't use it professionally. I'm not a fan of the syntax. And the other thing is, I've noticed that rather consistently, I want to do a thing, and C++ says you can't do that thing for some very odd kind of obscure reason, I guess. Like, I want to use this, like a perfect example. So there's a module feature in C++, if you were not aware. It basically just allows you to have your C++ code in one type of file rather than having to use header files, right? Which, in principle, I'm very in favor of that. I'm not a huge fan of header files personally. The problem is that the way that C works and the way that the build systems that C thing with the build systems and just the way the module system works, it's rather painful to get it working. Yeah, and the other thing is, I kind of agree with you. Like, I generally work in sort of an object-oriented fashion for the most part. Like that's something that I learned fairly early on, and I kind of operate within that mode a bit more. But I don't need most of the stuff that most object-oriented languages offer. So, like for example, actually, let me think. How would I say this? Like silly example, but it's one that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't know why you need both a class keyword and a struct keyword. From my perspective, I don't think there should be the class keyword. You already have struct. It already does all the things that you want a class to do. The only difference is by default, struct members are public, and by default, class members are private. So why do you need the both of them? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So, and like I use C++ and I do enjoy some features, but I basically use C++ with idiomatic, like C idioms when I use it, with the exception of things like templates and some of the features like that. And so I decided for this, it would probably be more interesting to use C. And it also means I don't have to rely on C++. So, yeah, that's the basic explanation. Okay, so I need that, and I'm just going to go ahead and supply it with null. And what else? Length we'll say is 10. Yeah, and in my opinion, that's kind of the better way to use it. It saves you all the trouble of having to keep up with all the features. Yeah, I should probably check him out then at some point. One thing I do like about C++ that C does not have, as far as I'm aware, is the underlying notion of pass by reference or call parameters being a reference is not really possible in C. I don't think it's just possible at all. You can sort of do it with the pointers. You know, you pass a pointer and then you use that. The trouble is, in C, that pointer itself is copied. And if you really don't want the function argument to be copied, you basically have no way around that as far as I'm aware. There might be some attribute that I'm not remembering that you can use in like GCC or something, but just as a default language feature, it's not there, whereas C++ does have that. So, all right, array delete, set array here. And I'm not going to bother with the using the test case. So let's just test. Oh, right, because that's got to get that in from the same with the logger. They might. I have not actually looked into it that far. So one thing that does bother me about C that I think C++ is kind of better at, it's not much better, but it is a bit, is C, there tends to be a lot of hacking, essentially, and working around. Like in what you're talking about here, I'm sure they do have some way of solving that problem. But like I said, in C++, this is just a default thing. Like you can just go and oops, you write a function void func, and then const use size reference length, and it's like, okay, so I've just created a function argument, and that function argument or parameter, I guess, is not going to be copied, and it's not going to be modified, and that's a way, like it's just part of the language, and it's a very sensible thing to include. That it's kind of a shame, in my opinion, that that's not something that's just a default in C. But part of it, I think, is there's just like a distinctive difference in how C versus C++ kind of operates as far as like how the versions are managed. But anyway, all right, so let's test. Okay, unknown type list. Oh, right, hold on. Just get rid of this. That's all good. I'm fine with chatting. I will have to leave here pretty quick, but I do want to get this part done here. Okay, so this needs to have list init expected identifier. Okay. Let's do, I guess we'll just say there. Let's say that, and this can go in here. Supposed to do this. Type greatest int. Yep. So we just no, wrong place. Wrong place. Wait, hold up. Why is that? Okay. What's going on here? What's going on? So that should not be a stride of 8. So what is the problem here? Just confirm this. Yep. Okay. So that's wrong. That should not be happening. Okay. Actually, hold on, because I think yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that's not working either. Maybe type of? Maybe I can use type of? I know that that is supposed to return type of a... I shouldn't have to. Okay. Maybe do it like this. I mean, in principle, I don't need to make that a pointer. What's that? Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. So now we're getting the correct stride. The only thing that kind of annoys me is I really am not fond of the sort of differential thing there. But I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles. Okay, cool. Well, that's like the very basics down. So now I can work on the other implementation details of the array stuff, but I am going to have to end the stream here. So thank you all for watching and for commenting, and I'll see you again probably tomorrow. Yeah, so have a nice day.